Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to take you through this short 15-minute yoga practice to target your upper body. So this is really meant to help you bring some ease of movement through your shoulders, your upper back, mid back, and lower back as well. It's suitable for all levels and we're not using any props. So if you're trying to work on spine flexibility, or if you just know that you have some weakness or some tightness in your upper body, hopefully this will be a very beneficial sequence for you to do on a regular basis. So we'll try to incorporate all of the essential spinal movements to get you feeling really freed up through your upper body. Let's begin in tabletop pose. So on hands and knees. And rather than doing a traditional variation of cat and cow, we're going to change things up a little bit. So from tabletop, walk your hands just a couple inches past your shoulders, so you have a bit of a wider stance. And we're going to inhale into our cow pose. So you drop the belly, lift the gaze, curl tailbone up. And then as you exhale, round through your spine and start to press your hips back through this child's pose. And try to keep your palms exactly where they are, so you're starting to get a nice stretch through your shoulders and through the armpits. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, lift tailbone up, come back through cow, exhale, round, and stretch it all the way back. So go at your own pace here. We're going to do about 3 more rounds. Breathing in and out through your nose, and try to get this motion through your upper back, mid back, and your lower back. And my hips are not going all the way to my heels here. Your range of motion might be different at home, but I'm really trying to emphasize the stretch through my shoulders. Take one more, inhale and exhale. And now let your hips come all the way back to your heels, come up onto your fingertips so your elbows are no longer touching the mat, and see if you can drop your forehead to the ground. Think of pushing your armpits as if you're going to get them to touch the mat. Just a big stretch here. And now go ahead and release your elbows to the floor. Bring your palms together in prayer, and you're going to bend your elbows as you send your thumbs towards the back of your neck. And same thing here. I'm trying to push my chest down. And release this prayer. Hands, you can bring your hands back behind you. Grab a hold of your heels, coming into our rabbit pose. You're going to rock onto the crown of your head, lift your seat off of your hips, and keep a hold of your heels. So just stretching along your spine. Not too much weight on the top of your head here. And go ahead and set your hips back down to your heels, lift up through your upper body. So little variations of modified camel poses. You're going to bring your left hand back behind you for support, and go ahead and reach your right arm up and over. Press and lift your hips up. So there's a nice thigh stretch here, but we're also trying to add a little back bend. And release it down. Switch sides, right hand down, left arm stretches up and over. And back through to center. Go ahead and walk your hands forward once more, this time transitioning into our puppy pose. Keep your hips over your knees. Walk your hands out in front of you and melt your chest down. And again, I'm doing a more active version of this pose. So my elbows are lifted off the mat and I'm actively pushing my hands into the floor, actively trying to push my chest down towards the mat, drawing your lower belly in. One more breath here. And let's slide forward into Sphinx pose. Lifting up, roll your shoulders back behind you, squeeze your shoulder blades together, push into the tops of your feet. Push down into your pubic bone so there's no compression or pinching in your lower back. And we'll find our first downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So you can push your hands into the floor to lift your way back up, tuck your toes under. And just paddle out your feet here, bending one knee, just any little movements that feel good. And you can almost exaggerate the bend of your knees so that you can really emphasize pushing your chest back towards your thighs and lengthening through your arms. And just to stretch our legs here, go ahead and reach your right leg up to the sky, bend your right knee, open up your hip, and we'll step our right foot forward in between the palms, coming into our low lunge. So the back knee comes down to the mat. Anjaneyasana, you're going to push into the feet to lift up. Reach your arms up and go ahead and make a little cactus shape here. So you're bending your elbows at a 90-degree angle. Stay strong and firm through your core. Squeeze your shoulder blades behind you and invite a little bit of a back bend. And circle the palms all the way back down. Fingertips frame that front foot. Lift your back foot or your back knee off the mat. Spin that back foot parallel to the shorter edge of your mat so you can lift up warrior two. Front knee is bent. Let's interlace our hands behind the lower back. Roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. Peel the heart up and then dive down. Humble warrior. Lifting your knuckles up and over. Stay low towards the mat. Just let your hands come down. Lift your back heel off the mat. Keep your left palm underneath your shoulder. Reach your right arm up into your twist. Press your left shoulder away from your ear, back into our downward facing dog, right hand down, step the right foot back. And let's take a flow here. We're gonna inhale into our plank pose and then lower all the way down to your belly. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Push your palms into the floor, lift up through your chest. Keep your elbows bent, hugging in. We're staying here a little bit longer than what we normally do in our vinyasas. Make sure you can still breathe. And lower down, press back, downward facing dog. We'll do that same sequence on the other side. So push your chest towards your thighs. Left leg rises, bend your left knee, open up your hip, and we can find Anjaneyasana, low lunge on the second side. Left foot steps through, right knee comes down, push into the floor, draw the lower belly in, reach your tailbone down, and then lift up, cactus shape with your arms. Squeeze your shoulder blades behind you as if you're trying to grab onto a pencil here, and lift on up. And you really don't need to go far back in this back bend. Stay lifted and frame the front foot with your hands. Tuck the back toes under, lift your right knee off the floor, spin your right foot so it's parallel to the shorter edge of your mat, and rise up, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. This time, interlace your hands the more unusual way so you have the other thumb on top, shrug the shoulders back, lift your knuckles off of your tailbone, and then dive down to the inside of your left thigh, lifting those knuckles up and over as high as they can go. Still breathing in and out through your nose. Bring your hands down to the mat to frame the front foot. We're coming to our easy twist. So lift your back heel off the mat, lean onto your right hand and extend your left arm up. So this is a final rotation. Try to keep your hips leveled, and you're really just working at stacking your left shoulder over the right one. Downward facing dog, left hand down, left foot steps back. And we'll take that variation of our flow again. Inhale to plank, and you're gonna lower to your belly. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. We're holding it for 3 breaths. So you wanna have your elbows bent and squeezing in. Roll your shoulders away from your ears and broaden through your chest. Try to push into the tops of your feet. And release, stay down to your belly. From here, we're gonna reach our arms back, palms facing down, variation of Shalambhasana, locust pose. You're gonna inhale, lift the upper body. And if your back feels okay, you can also lift the legs up as well. You wanna be able to still breathe here. If you can't, you've gone too far. One more breath. And release, tabletop pose onto hands and knees. Let's finish with Parsvabalasana, thread the needle pose. You're gonna thread your right arm underneath you, shoulder and ear lower to the mat. I like to straighten my left hand and reach it up overhead. Think of pushing into your right hip, so you're keeping your hips over your knees, and push both arms into the floor. The more you really push, especially this right arm down, and the further you get it, the more you'll feel this between your shoulder blades. And the more you're able to lean your hips to the right, the more sensation you'll create as well. And let's release, left hand comes back, push into the floor, tabletop. And just take a regular round of cat and cow here. So inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, tailbone up. Exhale, round and contract, push the floor away from you. Back to neutral. Let's thread to the other way. So left arm reaches underneath you. The further it goes, the deeper this will feel. You can straighten your right arm. Lean your hips over to the left and push actively through both arms. And the degree of sensation really does vary a lot from person to person. You can play around with where you have your hands. Try to breathe some space through your upper back. Slide that right hand back, press back up, tabletop pose. One more cat and cow. Inhale. And exhale. Go ahead and press your hips back to sit on your heels. Just bring your fingertips back behind you. One last little pose here. You can just stay up onto your fingertips, squeeze your shoulder blades behind you, keep your elbows bent, and then think of lifting your heart up towards the sky. And let's release. Come to take a seat in any way that is comfortable to you. Hands joined together at the heart, Anjali Mudra. And with your eyes closed, just take a moment to do this quick body scan, paying special attention to how your shoulders feel, your upper back, your mid back, your lower back. Noticing how even a short practice can have profound effects on our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And together, let's close and chant Om one time. Inhale to chant, breathe in. Om. Thank you so very much for doing this short practice with me. I hope you feel really freed up through your upper body and that this was a beneficial sequence for you to do. Please subscribe if you don't already, leave a comment down below, and hopefully I'll practice again with you very soon.